Hey there, history explorers. Today we're heading back to a time before the United States was, well, the United States. Our story takes place in Boston, back in the year 1773. Now, Boston might seem like an ordinary town, but that year, something big happened right there in Boston Harbor. Ever heard of the Boston Tea Party? Well, grab your imagination and let's dive in. So here's the scoop. The British King, George III, needed money. Why? Because wars aren't cheap. He thought, hey, I'll just tax those American colonies across the ocean. And that's what he did. He started with small taxes, but then he got to something the colonists really loved: tea. Now, tea wasn't just a drink, it was the drink. Imagine you couldn't have your favorite snack without paying extra. That's how the colonists felt. But it wasn't just the money. The colonists had a rule they lived by: no taxation without representation. They thought, if we don't have a say in British decisions, why should we pay British taxes? So they protested. In 1773, the British took things further with something called the Tea Act. It actually made tea cheaper, but here's the catch. It forced the colonists to buy their tea from the British East India Company. The colonists thought, what? Now they're controlling where we buy our tea? And that was it. The colonists were ready to stand up for their rights. One chilly December night, a group called the Sons of Liberty, led by a guy named Sam Adams, decided to take action. They dressed up as Mohawk Indians, which helped them disguise themselves, and snuck onto the British ships loaded with tea. No stealing, no smashing. Just a plan to make a statement. They climbed aboard and started dumping the tea into the harbor. All 342 crates of it, about 90,000 pounds of tea, plunged right into the water. That's enough to make nearly 24 million cups of tea. And you know what? They didn't even stop for a taste. They just kept dumping it overboard, saying, "Take that, King George." This wasn't just a prank. It was a political protest. The Boston Tea Party was a message to Britain. We won't be pushed around anymore. People cheered on the shore, but Britain? Not so happy. In fact, they were furious. When the king heard, he wasn't laughing. He punished Boston with something called the Intolerable Acts, which closed the harbor and took away some rights. The colonists felt trapped, and that's when they realized they needed to work together, not just in Boston, but in all the colonies. The Tea Party sparked the start of something big, something we now call the American Revolution. So what can we learn from the Boston Tea Party? Sometimes standing up for what's right means working together and speaking out. The colonists weren't trying to be rebellious for fun. They believed in freedom and a fair say in government. And that's the spirit that eventually led to a brand new country. Thanks for tuning in, History Explorers. Remember, even the biggest changes can start with one bold act. Or in this case, a whole lot of tea. See you next time.